Welcome to session 3 of Unit 308 on operational management. Already in this unit we've looked at organisational strategy, we've looked at operational and team plans, and we've looked at managing change within your team. And now we're going to take a look at data management. So overall aim for this session is now on the screen. It's to understand how data is managed in the workplace. We're going to split this session into two parts. In the first part, we'll examine how operational data is used and managed in the workplace. And then in part two, we'll start to think about why it is important to protect that data and the impact of technology on data and how we use it and how we can use technology to improve the way we use it in the workplace. So objectives there on the screen, and let's get started. So let's just clarify what operational data is before we go any further. It covers all sorts of things such as information on direct competitors, customer information, the company's workforce, statistics, information on suppliers, accounting data, plans, projections, sales, marketing, resources, etc. All these sort of things are included in that term operational data, and the data that is collected and stored helps to inform the organisational strategy, the planning. It helps production, the marketing, the sales. It helps us to make and deliver products and services to meet that organisational strategy. So the data on customers will help things like marketing, create customer profiles, helps with everything from production creation to distribution and advertising. And the workforce and accounting information, the internal data, helps with the internal control of finances, productivity, make sure we've got the right people at the right time, and it all informs and helps to form the strategy that helps the organisation to plan, monitor and deliver to meet that organisational strategy that we talked about at the beginning. And all this workplace data comes in two sort of real types. The first is quantitative, and that's data about numbers, so quantities, so specific, precise measures, things like sales and productions figures, customers' numbers, hours people have worked, and this is all collected usually by some sort of reporting and analysed by comparing with projections you've made or previous periods, previous years. And then there's qualitative, and this is a totally different thing. This is data about the quality, the state, how something is. So it's known as descriptive data. It's usually non-numerical data because it's about capturing people's concepts, opinions. So some examples might be data from an interview, free text in surveys or audits or reports, notes or audio visual recordings from an observation. Analysing it is simply a process of examining the data to derive an explanation, trying to decide on an explanation for any specific sort of phenomenons that are noticed, and it's just about analysing it to give yourself an understanding about any patterns or themes in what's going on that might reflect on your objectives. So quantitative data is relatively simple to manage and analyse because it's straightforward, it's numbers, and they either agree with your predictions or they don't. Whereas the qualitative is slightly different, and there are a number of approaches to analysing qualitative data. And the first is a deductive approach, and this approach involves analysing the data based on a set of predetermined groupings that you've decided. And so you've chosen some categories where the questions will fall into. So for example, if they answer one question in one way, it means they're either happy, they enjoyed the event, say, or they didn't enjoy the event, or they've got good service, or they didn't get good service. And this is a quick and easy approach where you're relatively confident of the sort of idea of the responses that you're going to get. And then there's inductive approach, which on the other hand, this approach is not based on a structure or a predetermined framework. It's just on a case-by-case basis and a lot more time consuming, but where you can obviously mine a lot of useful information from on people's opinions. So basically it's reading and deciding on every comment and deciding what you think that response is giving you. So 3 quick, simple, examples here of some data that, or some outcomes that we might have derived from some data that the organisation's collected. On screen now, I want you to think about them and think whether they're quantitative or qualitative. So, serviced 100 customers or produced an output of 100, figure-based, so it's going to be quantitative. Feedback survey from the same week showing that 75% of those customers perhaps that we serviced were happy with the service. So again, it's going to be quantitative because it's a figure. But the reason given by the 25% that weren't happy, so the reasons, the detail, is going to be qualitative. And of course, nowadays, much of our data is managed and interpreted using technology, from sophisticated databases to analytic tools to simple surveys using survey things such as SurveyMonkey. However, some of it still comes in reports, in feedback, in audits, and needs to be analysed manually and then recorded in something like a Microsoft Excel spreadsheet, using formulas that can produce charts and tables, etc., so that we can look at it. And once that data is analysed, the quantitative by comparison with the previous ones, and then the qualitative by reviewing and problem solving, it can be presented in a number of formats, breaking it down in numbers, charts, graphs, using sometimes bespoke software such as market analytics, complex data analysis tools, and predictive modelling software. And the use of technology has changed the amount and how business collect and manage data such as stock, resource levels, sales, customer info. I think the example we all see all the time is the retail environment in particular, where the expansion and use of barcodes quite a few years ago has led to a collection of large amounts of data that can be analysed and used in operational planning. So the barcode is used, and then there's automated recording of sales, which leads to subsequent adjusting, monitoring of stock levels so that it can reorder and get supplies when needed, not to mention the details on what we have purchased and when. Our habits, our preferences are linked to that personal data, given the information that helps them look at stock levels, busy periods, staffing levels, delivery dates, storage. And all this is now filtering through into smaller organisations as technology is developed, improved, and the costs are reduced. People are using handheld devices such as we see delivery drivers, and that's now filtering through and telling people straight away when it's been delivered, how quickly they can get to their next delivery, because it's instantly returned. It's updated using GPS recording, and all these innovations have led to improved productivity, efficiency, quality, and ultimately cost savings. And all that data is coming back into automated analytical software, which is giving us that information in a format we can use. Right, let's take a quick break now by doing an activity. Considering everything we've talked about, I want you to consider the data collected by your organisation or department or in your situation. And there's a worksheet that you can download, and on that I want you to identify or list some of the common key data that your organisation or your department uses. And once you've listed what's collected, I want you to consider what sort of data it is. So is it qualitative or quantitative? Is it text, numerical? How and where is it stored? How is it used? Is its use effective or not? Or could there be more use of it? So generally think about it and then list that on your list and upload it. And that will be useful when you get to your end of unit assignment. So do the activity, upload it, and then move on to the next video PowerPoint.